Page down through Manchester. North 270 north of Manchester to Ladue is busy. Southbound 55 jams. Arsenal down through Bates. A crash in the work zone, not blocking anything. And eastbound 64 heavy 157 most of the way to 159. Eastbound 270 stop-and-go pockets from 367 to the Chain Rocks. Next update at 520 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Jerry Kelly can install a new AC tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, even if we call it 8 tonight.
Wow, that's fast.
They're fast and they're good.
Mathematically, that actually equals got it going on.
Tomorrow.
JerryKelly.com. News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Hi, welcome into the Redbird Rush Hour on a Wednesday. Matt, Pauley, Kevin Wheeler hanging out with you here until 5:45, and then Matt's got pregame at 5:50, 6:45 for the first pitch tonight. Sonny Gray on the mound for the Cardinals. Carmen Mlodzinski is getting the start for Pittsburgh. I don't know this for sure, Matt, but I would think that's an opener situation, right? Mlodzinski's been working mostly in relief this year.
Yeah, it was listed as a TBA until late last night.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is essentially a bullpen game today for the Pirates.
Interesting if it's not a bulk guy, but a bullpen game in advance of a day game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's a bullpen game, not a bulk guy.
Although
game,
I will tell you this, I wouldn't shock me if we see Bubba Chandler after the opener.
Yeah, that's been rumored out there. So
yeah.
I don't know if anything's been officially said by the I'll take a look at the Pirates beat writers, but it'd be fun to see Bubba Chandler.
Heck yeah, it would be. I mean, maybe not for hitters, although he's a little wild, so maybe you can take advantage of that. A lot to do today. And look, I joked earlier when you and I, and for those that missed it, Matt and I were talking some ball on DGS this afternoon. And Dave asked us the things that we're sick of talking about when it comes to the 2025 team. And you mentioned the attendance, which I would agree. It just gets old. It's clearly a thing, and it's clearly a problem, and it's clearly a problem for the team more than you and me.
Right.
It doesn't really impact us one way or the other, but it's clearly a thing that needs to be addressed, right? But there's nothing more to say about it than what we've already said. And on my side, I said I was tired of talking about bad starting pitching because it really has been a theme since, what would you say, since June 1st? Because there was a while there where starting pitching wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can look. It kind of went like guy by guy. Like Eric Fetty kind of went bad, and Miles Michaelis went bad, and Liberatore here recently, and Palante. Like it hasn't been consistent. Those are the four guys that have really struggled this year at times in the rotation.
Well, and lately, Sonny.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I guess we can put Sonny in there, but it still feels like he's the guy who can give you the best chance on any given night. And we don't include McGreevy in this because he hasn't been around all season. But yeah, it's been it hasn't been like a linear type thing.
No, and McGreevy's really out of this conversation, right? I mean, we don't have enough starts to be tired of talking about him. He's had some bummers, but he's also had more good ones. And it's just he's fully and look, I think Matthew Liberatore is also in an evaluation stage, like figuring out how to do this. To a degree, Palante is too, right? I mean, he's 26. Last year was his first year with significant time as a starter in the big leagues. He's getting past previous workloads. Like, I'm not trying to rip on any individual players, although it's very troubling when you look at the direction it's going for some of these guys. I mean, like, even Sonny, who is, you're right, he's the guy you feel the best about, in part because he's the one guy that misses bats, but he's got a 6.75 ERA since the All-Star break. And, Miles Michaelis has been, I'm not even going to run through it again. I mean, just it's 3 years running as one of the 3 or 4 worst ERAs in baseball, and that goes along with fielding independent ERA and expected ERA and every other form of ERA that you could look at. And now Palante is on a really disturbing trend where, he's gotten worse every month. Like, it was a 3.60 ERA right out of the gate, but that was only one game. And then a 4.23 and a 4.34, and then a 4.91 in June, 5.16 in July, and now a 9.82 ERA in August. He's 0-5 in 5 starts, and he's got a 7.91 ERA in 8 starts since the All-Star break. Like, the rotation is falling apart, and the part of the problem here, right, Matt, is you don't have a lot of alternatives.
I push back on that strongly.
No, I mean, like ones where you're like hopeful about, right? Yeah, you can throw Aaron Wilkerson out there, but I mean, he's just a guy.
Sure. but you are getting completely non-competitive starts right now from some of these guys.
Yeah.
So no, you have options. Those options are at AAA. I would until Aaron Wilkerson and Curtis Taylor show me that they are also going to be non-competitive at the big league level, I would like to see them get some opportunities.
Sure. But again, those aren't people that fans or people like us are going to go and say that guy could be the solution to your problem. I agree with you is it can't be worse. So why not? Right. And those aren't guys you're worried about protecting on the 40-man at the end of the year. They're not going to be a big part of your future. It would just be, okay, this is going poorly. Let's do something else. But I want to bring up the thing that we've been talking about for months, and it related to Fetty when he was here. It relates to Michaelis. It relates to Palante right now, and maybe even to Matthew Liberatore for the time being. What's the harm in trying new things?
There's not.
What's the harm in trying an opener in advance of one of these guys or two of these guys? And if not every time through, hey, let's just try it and see. And if it doesn't work, great. Now we know it's not a solution. But see, the reason I bring this up today, you and I talked about this, is that the Brewers have signed Eric Fetty. They have an injury problem that they really haven't clarified with Quinn Priester. He was supposed to start today. He is not starting today for Milwaukee. So they brought in Eric Fetty, signed him today, and he will pitch today, but he will pitch today following a left-handed opener. So the Brewers will do it, picking him up off the street, saying, yep, this is our best way to win with Eric Fetty. But we sit here and watch the Cardinals just do the same things over and over and watch those things not work.
Yeah, and I actually feel bad for the guys to a certain extent because you want to be in a place that's going to give you the best opportunity to be successful. And sometimes just running you out there every fifth day without really changing much isn't the best way to be successful. But all of a sudden, if you start getting creative, whether you're using an opener, whether you send a guy down to AAA for a week or two to work on something, whether you get them on the injured list, whether you just flat out skip their start, whether you get them some work in the bullpen a couple times, or maybe their side days, like whatever it might be. There's 9 million things that you can do that may or may not work, but they may work. That's the key thing. And I would just like to see more of that being used.
And, I cite examples from all over the game to point out that it's like we're not talking about just a select few teams that do these things, right? So like earlier this year, Baltimore in the offseason signed Charlie Morton to be a veteran presence, to be a contributor to what they thought was going to be a playoff contender, right? Well, his terrible start is part of the reason why they got off to a bad start, right? He was brutally bad. He had a 10.5 ERA near the end of April.
Until he faced the Cardinals.
Faced the Cardinals. And then actually that was much later. But so before that game, he came into that game against the Cardinals with a 7.68 ERA. And that was in late May, right? But what they ended up doing was pulling him from the rotation after about 4 or 5 terrible outings and putting him in the bullpen. And he could work on things, and he strung together a few better outings. And look, he's not been amazing since then, but his ERA at that point was 8, and now it's 5. So he's gotten better as the season's gone along. Again, not perfect. He had a blow up last night. He had a blow up the other day. But, I mean, mostly he's been much more competitive because they did something. They didn't just keep running him out there. They changed it up.
Yeah, let's take this one step further, Kevin, because they got to move him at the trade deadline.
Sure.
So the organization got better. They brought in young talent. Who they got from Morton, probably not going to be this difference-making kind of guys, but they were able to infuse the organization with some level of talent. And if they wouldn't have made that switch with Morton, he maybe never gets right and is not somebody that's even going to be traded at the deadline.
Yeah, and again, the question, and then we'll continue just talking about the pitching. So we're going to spend some time talking pitching today, and then we're going to start talking catching. So we're going to do a little bit of that later on in the show before we run out of time.
I will just be quiet during that part.
No, you will not. You have ideas. We texted about it last night. You don't understand. Well, I think you do now. You probably have connected the dots. And a lot of times what we end up texting about is what's going to end up on the Redbird Rush Hour because it's interesting stuff. We sit there and we watch the games. And we have ideas in real time. And a lot of times that's including like other people. Sometimes you and I are just you and me. Sometimes it's you and me and Bernie. Sometimes it's you and me and Tom Ackerman and our boss, Steve Moore. Like we're always kicking things around, and that's where ideas come from, and that's kind of where. So if you're sharp to that, Matt, you might you might know in advance what's coming. But I want to talk more pitching, and again, what your options could be at this point, because I think you have different things going on with each guy, and that's kind of what I want to get into here. So we'll touch on that, and we'll talk catching a little bit later on in the show. So stick around. You got baseball coming in a little bit. 6:45 first pitch for the Cards and the Pirates. We got more Redbird Rush Hour coming up next.
Most people have no idea there's an invisible gap in their home's protection. This invisible threat is house stealing. Con artists pick a house. They transfer the deed of this house into their name by obtaining the forms, using the fake IDs, and filing the paperwork with proper authorities. Now they own the home. Protect your home from this invisible gap. Check on your home's title right now at HomeTitleLock.com. Be sure to use promo code RADIO, and they will send you a complete title scan of your home's title. And your first 30 days of triple lock title protection is free. HomeTitleLock.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Are you someone that's a little bit frustrated about your home internet? Maybe it just drops out of, you don't even know why. All of a sudden it's just not there, or it starts going slow right when you really, really, really need it. Maybe you get that bill every month and you just say to yourself, what in the world am I paying for? Well, if any of those thoughts go through your mind, I'm pretty sure you don't have i3 broadband. That's who I have in my home. I love i3 broadband. No matter what you need, they've got 2 gig, 4 gig, 8 gig packages. They always mirror their upload and download speed. So yeah, their 2 gig internet's going to be faster than another provider that doesn't mirror upload and download speed. Maybe another provider has 2 gig download, but not 2 gig upload. That's the one I have at home, 2 gigs. In fact, right now, you're able to save about $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. Just look into it a little bit. That would be my encouragement to you. If you're at all unhappy with your internet, go with folks who I know are going to be awesome for you. You can go to the website, i3broadband.com, i3broadband.com, put in your address, or you can give them a call and ask them any question you might have. They got people willing to answer those questions. 877-976-0711, 877-976-0711 for i3 Broadband.
Missouri, get ready! DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your basketball picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we go live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX now to gear up for launch in Missouri. Be the first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com. My dad always said, no one gets out of this world alive. Hi, it's Margaret at Eamon Gantner and Capriano. Do you have a will? Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com. The choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, this is the busiest ball game traffic night we've had for a while. If you're eastbound on 64, you're backed up coming out of the valley like Annie Gunn's almost to Timberlake. There's slow stuff from Lindbergh through the Interbelt. South 170 is a solid jam. South of Olive down to 64. Eastbound 70, the delays begin, let's call it air flight, east of Cypress, but it's solid jam from Natural Bridge in through Florissant Road after that. So pretty tough on these eastbounds. Northbound 170, Natural Bridge up to Airport Road's heavy. If you're on westbound 64, Boyle out to McCausland is stop-and-go pockets. Clayton Worson to 270 heavy. Chesterfield Parkway west to the Boone Bridge, slow at K, and 364 to 70. Westbound 70, there's heavy stuff from the airport all the way to the Blanchette Bridge. It's busy 79 to TR Hughes, and Lake St. Louis out through 61. South 270, slow at Page. backed up through Olive, but it remains heavy both ways between Ladue and Manchester. 44 is busy westbound. West of Jameson all the way to Elm. Southbound 55 is solid jam at Arsenal down through Bates where that crashes on the left shoulder. And eastbound 64 backed up 157 to 159. I'm Roger Brand at the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
This is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour, Matt Pauley at the ballpark, Kevin Wheeler at KMOX. And obviously talking pitching here. We'll do a little catching talk after we get through the bottom of the hour news. And it's what we texted about last night, Matt, so we're not going to catch you off guard. On the pitching side, so when we look at the current rotation, and I'm sticking with the rotation. We don't have to do the bullpen on this for today, at least as far as I'm concerned. When we're looking at the rotation, you have 5 different guys, and I think really 5 wildly different scenarios, right? Like McGreevy, I think we're just letting McGreevy roll for now, right? Good or bad, runway, right? Just good or bad, no big deal, let him go. Don't mess with him, just let him pitch. We haven't seen enough of it. We'll see more between now and the end of the year, so we can take him out of the conversation. I feel kind of the same way about Sonny, even with struggles. Like, we're going to let him go. He's Sonny Gray. He's your highest paid pitcher. Maybe you reduce the workload a little bit as you go, if that makes sense. But in all honesty, I mean, you're almost at the end of the year. Again, kind of let him go. So to me, there are 3 spots that you might need to massage a little bit. Matthew Liberatore is one. And again, that's a workload thing. I don't want to back off his innings too much, Matt. But we got to figure something out as far as I know this is part of the finding out. So maybe you should tell me, I mean, is this a leave him alone and, just go get him when you need to go get him kind of thing?
That's how they've been doing it.
Yeah.
It's been
it might be the right thing too, right? It might be because of where he is in his career.
His arm is not sustaining velocity deep into games. And once that velocity drops, you got to get him out of there. So that's where they're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to pump the brakes on him a little bit, utilize off days, you get a 6-man up here, make a bullpen. Like, if you want to do one of those things,
Matt, they're not allowed to do a bullpen start. They won't even do an opener.
I know. But if they want to open up the creativity bag and pull something out of it when it comes to Matthew Liberatore, I'm not going to be upset about that. Just as I think the number one most important thing is you don't do anything that risks his year next year. You want him to continue to be stretched out. You want him to then go into a regular offseason having been pushed as far as you could push him.
Yes.
And then hopefully that sets him up to be able to post a little bit better next season.
Totally agree. And by the way, that's another good, a question. Like, why does every team but the Cardinals seem to be willing to do a bullpen day here and there? I mean, again, you don't have that answer because none of us do. It's like, I don't understand the complete refusal to try things when other things aren't working, which is, it's one thing if things are going well. Hey, look, if things are going well, I never want to see an opener and I never want to see a bullpen day. But when things are going horribly, play around a little bit.
Again, we've talked about it before, how this team so often operates in fear. And because you don't have starting pitching that goes deep into games, I would assume that there is a strong worry that it's the reason Andre Palante went 5 innings yesterday and why he wasn't pulled after 3 innings. And I have no problem with that decision being made.
Me neither.
In fact, I would argue it was the correct decision to make in that moment, but I understand the optics of it. People asked about it in the postgame show. Why didn't Ali go get Palante? It's the same reason of why they're not going to go with the bullpen game is because I think they would be more worried about, as you push down those dominoes, what it's going to look like in future days.
I get it, but I mean, again, everybody deals with the same problems. It's not like the Cardinals have problems that are unique to the Cardinals. They're baseball problems, and the creative teams and a lot of the successful teams find a way to pull those things off. And that maybe this is all just, yelling into the wind because you got a new regime coming in next year who may do it completely differently. But it's still like we're looking at this last month and a half, and you've got 2 spots with Michaelis and Palante where Michaelis is gone at the end of the year. So, I mean, I don't know why you'd worry about feelings or anything like that. If he's not going to pitch well, then you can use an opener in front of him, and then he can either like it or not like it, but he's done at the end of the year anyway. And you might need to do something like that with Palante. And maybe just that change, Matt, puts them in a different mind space. Like starting pitchers love their routine and they get attached to it. But you know what? If you're not pitching well, who gives a crap about your routine? Maybe changing it up can get your mind different.
It doesn't have to be one of your super high leverage guys.
No, Graceffo, Granillo, whatever.
Yeah, one of those guys. And we're like-minded on this. I would just like to see them try it every once in a while.
Just when something's broke, try to fix it.
Yeah.
Because like the plan of, well, we just hope it's going to get better. Well, how's that gone for them?
This year, starting pitching, you've said, it's been getting worse and worse as the year's gone along.
How has the way they've been doing things worked out for them the last 3 years?
Not well.
So playing for defense instead of offense and putting a bunch of pitch-to-contact pitchers out there has failed 3 years in a row, but we're going to keep doing it.
And to be fair, they were getting good production from starting pitching earlier on.
In the first couple months, yeah, they did. Yeah. And at that point, you shouldn't have changed anything. You don't have to adapt until things go wrong.
Right.
Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler with you here at the Redbird Rush Hour. We're going to move off of pitching and talk a little catching. Where do they go next year? And we'll talk a bit about the guys that are going right now, Pajes and Pozo, and the guys that are on their heels as a part of that conversation coming up.
Start your day refreshed with a delicious breakfast sandwich deal from Quick Trip. Choose from classics like the sausage, egg, and cheese croissant, the ham, egg, and cheese biscuit, or the melty bacon, egg, and cheese grilled cheese. And get ready to really wake up because it comes with
any small Red Bull of your choice, all for $5. Woo! Let's go!
That's any breakfast sandwich.
Plus a Red Bull for just $5. Yeah!
QT.
More than a gas station.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet within 125 miles. We're closer than you think. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. Or want something new? We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024. See dealer for details.
One of the best ways to find out about 3-Day Kitchen and Bath is actually to hear the results for yourself. On the phone with us is Wendy in Darwin. Wendy, you got a brand new bathroom.
I do, and it's beautiful.
Are you loving it?
I am absolutely loving it.
Okay, tell me about your bathroom.
It went from a dark room that felt like an absolute cave when I walked into it to a bright, airy, opened the space up. I mean, I don't know what else. It's just absolutely wonderful.
She's almost speechless. So, Darwin, tell me about all the man stuff. How did it work? The quality, the convenience. How did they do?
Excellent. We contacted 3-Day Bath, and they got back to us the next day. The communication was excellent. They were on time in all their promises, and it's beautiful. It's a great bathroom.
Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
For more about your new kitchen or bath, visit 3daykitchen.com.
3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
At 5:30, we've got cloudy sky. It is 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. 2 young children were killed and 17 others were injured in a shooting during a Catholic mass packed with young students in Minneapolis. Matt DeBoer is a principal at Annunciation Catholic Church where this happened.
Within seconds of this situation beginning, our teachers were heroes. Children were ducked down. Adults were protecting children. Older children were protecting younger children.
The shooter, a 23-year-old, police say, approached from the outside of the building and fired a rifle through the church windows toward children and worshipers. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara.
We're also aware of a manifesto that the shooter had timed to be released on YouTube.
This manifesto appeared to show him at the scene and included some disturbing writings. That content has since been taken down with the assistance of the FBI, and it now remains under active review by our investigators.
As many as 30 firefighters worked to put out a big blaze at an abandoned warehouse at Vanaventer alongside 6440. The billowing gray smoke was so thick, the highway was closed in both directions for about an hour earlier today. St. Louis Fire Department Captain Garen Mosby.
There was an initial interior rapid primary search to ensure that if there were any victims or individuals in peril, we could pull them to safety.
But he says nobody appeared to be hurt. The structural integrity of the building is a concern, though. It has been a warehouse, a photography studio, and a bar over the years. As heard on KMOX, Steve Ellman is reconsidering a run for county executive next year, but why?
This is Stuart McMillan at the East-West Gateway meeting in downtown St. Louis. Steve Ellman tells me he hasn't made a decision to run yet, just that he's reconsidering it. One reason, improving health. The 74-year-old now walks without a cane after receiving 2 knee surgeries, something that led him in 2023 to want to step away from the race. Another reason he wants to jump back in, new leadership from the top down.
We got a new president, we got a new governor, and I've got some new senators to work with in Jefferson City. And equally important, I've got a new group of people to work with here at East-West Gateway.
Since January of this year, we've actually had well over 13 break-ins for our location in East St. Louis.
That's Captain Kenneth Jones with the St. Clair County Salvation Army. He says the break-ins began in February with a broken window in the food pantry, then more broken windows. They decided to shut down to repair, but
it actually escalated the situation, and some of the break-ins resulted into other rooms being ransacked and broken into. And at one point in July, someone broke in and just totally trashed the gym. It looked like there was a giant food fight.
Police are analyzing security footage, and there is a community cleanup day that is planned for September 6th. Dave Murray says for tonight, low 60. For Thursday, partly sunny, a spot shower, but should be hard to find with a high of 81. For tomorrow night, 61. And for Friday, sunshine, high 82. Right now, it's 78 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Representative Jason Smith stopped a massive tax hike by voting to make the 20% small business tax deduction permanent. This means Missouri's small businesses can grow, hire, and invest in our communities. Visit smallbusinessdeduction.com and thank Representative Smith for protecting America's small businesses. Paid for by the National Federation of Independent Business.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker.
I think the key is recognizing symptoms and not ignoring them to say, oh, I think that's going to go away. So I highly encourage anyone who's listening, if they're having abnormal bleeding or hasn't seen their gynecologist in a while, to really make that appointment to ensure that you're getting the best health.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Now through September 1st, the Labor Day sale is going on at Zero Res, 3 rooms for $119, plus a free hallway and $75 off your air ducts. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Check out the Terrace in Eureka for affordable senior living with 24-hour nursing supervision, delicious meals, medication management, and activities. The Terrace is affordable and will work with your Medicaid plan. Go to rspseniorliving.com and look for the Terrace Private Assisted Living.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here, and we'll be going for another 8 minutes or so. We'll be done at 5:45, and then obviously the pregame starts at 5:50, 6:45 first pitch. And Sonny Gray getting the start for the Cards tonight against right-hander Carmen Mlodzinski from Pittsburgh, who will probably be just a 1 or 2 inning guy, just based on the fact that he's been working in the bullpen all season long. All right, let's go from the pitchers to the catchers, Matt. We were texting a little bit about this last night because I forget what the stat was, but I saw the stat on Joel Pozo. I think it was just like his numbers in August.
And I think it was last 7 and last 15 games.
Something like that. Maybe it was the last 30 games, whatever. The last 30 games, he's like a $150 with a 500 OPS. In August, and a while ago we were talking about maybe we can get him some playing time, and because he was having some good batted ball luck, and he's fun and he's a decent defender and all that. And none of that's untrue anymore. But I think what we see is there's going to have to be room for a guy like Jimmy Crooks to make a push next year, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So he's hitting 135 in the month of August. Pozo, and that's over 15 games. There's a few games in there where he only gets 1 at bat, but it's 37 at bats over 15 games, a 135 average. So he's come back to earth a little bit. They've got so much depth when it comes to catching. There's actually some urgency in my mind to get Jimmy Crooks here, because you got to figure out who he is and what he's going to be, because you have Pedro Pajes around. There's no indication that they want to move on from him completely.
No, I wouldn't yet either. No way. Yeah.
And Crooks here recently has been really put to, I think he may have hit another home run yesterday, if I remember seeing that correctly. If not, I mean, he's really been stinging the ball recently. I think we still need to see him in the big leagues and see what it looks like defensively. That's one of the things it's really tough to project a catcher defensively
until you really get to
see
it.
Big leagues. It's so it probably that position more than any other position, maybe other than pitchers, but in terms of actual position players, that's probably the hardest one to project from AAA to the big leagues defensively. So we have to see him there, but because Leonardo Bernal is essentially 1 year behind him and just pushing, next year has got to be the year. If they don't call Crooks up in September this year, which I don't think they'll do, but I guess they could, I would say that you've got to open up a spot for Crooks next year.
All right, let's talk a bit more about the catching stuff, and because clearly this is the direction that you're probably going to have to follow for next year, and we'll get more into the Crooks thing. And you were right, by the way, he did homer yesterday, and he's got a 900 OPS in his last 10 games, something like that. So he has been red hot now, and he was hot before that, so he's been swinging the bat really well for a good while. All right, we're going to do a real quick check of traffic, see what's going on around downtown in case you're coming down for the ball game or something like that, and we'll finish up the Redbird Rush Hour in just a second.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Yeah, this is the busiest night for ball game traffic we've had, Kevin. You're right. This traffic reports the service at Terrace Senior Living of Eureka. 70 eastbound's bogged down Earth City to 270. It's stop and go from Natural Bridge all the way to Bermuda. Eastbound 64 drivers coming in for the game. Slow east to Clarkson from Spady all the way through the Interбelt. South 170, that's bumper to bumper from Delmar down to 64. Westbound 64 busy Kings Highway to McCausland. It's slow Lindbergh Ballas, a couple of spots in the valley, and Lake St. Louis out to 70. Westbound 70, there's some heavy traffic around our city as well, and Lake St. Louis out to 61, the busiest part there. South 270, Page to Ladue, slow. 64 to Manchester, both ways still heavy. Westbound 44, River to Shrewsbury to Elm is heavy. South 55, Arsenal to Bates. Eastbound 64, east to 157 to 159, and there's a crash southbound 141 south of Olive and a jam midway back to 364. I'm Roger Brand at the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
All right, so a few more minutes here before we run out of time, and of course that'll lead right to our pregame show at 5:50 tonight. First pitch, 6:45. So, Jimmy Crooks. I think when we look at this, I've been happy with a lot of what we've seen from Pedro Pajes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a really good defender. The pitchers love him, but he does not hit enough to be an everyday player. He does not hit enough to be a primary catcher. He does hit enough to be on a major league team and play a fair amount. Like, I can live with that if he's a 30 or 40% guy. Like, he's going to start a couple games a week, and he's going to give you great defense. He's got a little pop. Occasionally, he'll hit a home run, but the other numbers, they don't lie, man. I mean, they're accurate, right? The 220 batting average, the 620 OPS, the 350 slug. That's not like bad luck. And he strikes out a lot. Like, that's what he is. But as a top high-end defensive catcher, he's a guy that I wouldn't mind having around. He's a nice safety net if you're going to pair him up with a young guy like Crooks. And Crooks is not, that's the other thing to point out. Crooks is not that young.
Right.
He's 24. He's not a 22-year-old guy. He's 24, and he's always had a reputation for kind of being a gamer with a good arm. And when you look at the fact that at AA had a 900 OPS last year, and at AAA this year, it's almost 800, and he's a lefty bat, that is such an important guy, even if it's in a timeshare where it's almost 50-50.
Although the Cardinals don't need more lefty bats right now.
No, but I mean, you can never go wrong with a lefty hitting catcher. And that's the other thing. They do need to balance the rest of it out in the offseason, though.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a lefty and a righty catcher. I mean, I was just trying to kind of be a smart aleck about that.
It landed. You nailed it.
Thank you. Pedro Pajes had a nice month of August offensively. He's a 326 hitter in the month. He goes through stretches where he puts together a lot of hits, but then it goes away from him. Now, I would suspect that if next season coming out of spring training, the catching tandem is Pajes and Crooks, Pajes is going to start the season as the guy who's going to play more often than the other. But then Crooks would have the opportunity to say something about that as the season went along.
Another runway season.
Yes.
No, yep. Honestly, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to get that in their heads that next year is going to be a lot like this. It's going to be a lot like this. Now, unless some of these guys, I think this is where you're going to go. So you say it.
I was going to say, unless Heim comes in and he's just got like some sort of,
master plan,
really empowered by ownership to do some crazy things.
Well, I was going to say, unless a lot of these guys just establish themselves, in which case you don't have to look at it that way. But I mean, there's still unanswered questions with some pitchers, with Jordan Walker, the way we're talking about the catching thing. And again, I don't think Bernal's going to make the jump, but he's going to be in the mix next year because he's got power. And then you got Rainiel Rodriguez, who has real power, but he's years away. He's
I know we're
probably
almost
2-3
done,
years away.
But I forgot who it was. Somebody listed him as like their number one prospect in baseball. I saw that recently.
Was it ESPN? Yeah. Was it Kylie McDaniel?
I don't know.
Okay. But he's a top 100 now in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a nice thing with a catcher who's got real power. Like real power. For the power he's hitting for in Florida at his age is crazy. It's crazy good. All right, dude, that's going to be it. We've solved nothing, but we've discussed everything on the
that's what we do.
Catching side. Well, we don't have the power to solve anything. We can just throw out ideas. They can either listen to us or not. One way or the other.
I think they listen a little.
Yeah, that's good to know. Pre-game coming up next here on KMOX.
Manor Grove has been caring for seniors for over a century. Everyone at Manor Grove